Good evening, I'm Cynthia Ng. This is AWANI Tonight. Putrajaya assures job scam victims abroad will be brought home safely. And ahead of Budget 2023, more focus on the elderly to meet the needs of an aging nation. That and more coming up. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob assured that the government is committed to helping Malaysians stranded abroad after falling victim to job fraud syndicates. Minister in the PM's Department Special Functions, Datuk Dr. Abdul Latif Ahmad, said the Cabinet will discuss approaches to resolve the issue at tomorrow's Cabinet meeting. Among measures to be considered at the meeting include a proposal to set up a special committee at the ASEAN level to address the matter. At the same time, Abdul Latif urged those whose family members have fallen into these scams to come forward and lodge a police report so that they can be repatriated. He said that only about half the cases have been reported to the police, making authorities unable to put an exact number of Malaysian victims who have fallen for the scam.
Kadang-kadang mereka tidak berterus terang, mereka keluar menggunakan pasport biasa dan tidak, maknanya within ASEAN kita boleh datang ke mana-mana negara selama 3 bulan, tak silap saya, social visit. Jadi mereka tidak menyatakan hasrat mereka untuk bekerja. Kalau kita bekerja, kita memerlukan permit yang berbeza. Jadi antara proses inilah biasanya rakyat kita tertipu.
Abdul Latif said that the governments of Cambodia and Laos have been cooperative with Malaysia's plea of assistance to bring back Malaysians stuck overseas, with Myanmar the only country currently putting up a wall in its efforts to repatriate Malaysian victims. The Penang state government has vowed not to dissolve the state legislative assembly if the 15th general election is held during monsoon season. Chief Minister Chow Kun Yeow said the risks towards voters' lives would be too high. The Penang lawmaker added that the monsoon season was an unsuitable time to hold election campaigns and national polls. He said many voters would not be able to exercise their right to vote as their homes will be affected by floods, while polling stations and the entire electoral process will also be jeopardized. According to Chow, the state's decision to dissolve the State Assembly at the same time as the dissolution of Parliament would depend on timing. It would only follow the federal government if the dissolution was closer to the full term. In a landmark decision, the Court of Appeal has ruled that an injury sustained by an employee while travelling to work on an off day can be claimable. Workers may now claim it as an employment injury from the Social Security Organisation, SOCSO. On Monday, a 3-person bench allowed a former technician's appeal to claim temporary disability benefits over injuries caused by a motor accident in 2016. He had sustained injuries while travelling on his off day in order to attend work the following day. He attempted to claim benefits from SOCSO but was rejected on the grounds that his accident did not constitute as an employment injury under the Employees Social Security Act 1969. An appeal to the SOCSO Appeal Board was also dismissed for the same reason, and that his travel time on a Sunday fell under personal reasons. The technician then turned to the Court of Appeal, which allowed his appeal on the ground that it was an employment injury per Section 24 of the Act. It ruled that any injury sustained in an accident while an employee is travelling between his residence and workplace on Sunday and while on leave must be regarded as an employment injury under the Act. Budget 2023 will prioritise environmental sustainability, says Finance Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz. His ministry has issued 6 public consultation papers for the upcoming federal budget, 3 of which are related to sustainable development as well as environmental, social and governance matters. Zafrul added that the government will issue up to 10 billion ringgit in sustainability sukuks to fund social and environmental friendly projects. A more sustainable framework for the financing sector is also in the works. The government's green procurement policy has also been enhanced with the aim to incorporate environmental consideration in all government-based procurements. However, Zafrul said the transition to the green agenda must be done gradually, as rapid changes can bring negative spillover effects such as job losses. Roughly 3 million people, or 7% of the population, are above 60 years of age. And by 2030, this percentage will go up to 15%, which would push Malaysia to be an aged nation. Ahead of the budget 2023, Chia Tak Weng, co-founder of Third Age Media Association, highlights some of the challenges faced by this group and the need to address them now.
I think many are aware that since the pandemic has happened, you find that many people are either lacking of retirement savings or even have no retirement savings. The withdrawal of retirement savings from the various schemes of iCitra, iSina, iListari has resulted in many seniors now may even be abandoned in the street, because their children can't take care of them because they are struggling to survive themselves. And lifespan is increasing, because of better healthcare and better medical science. People are predicted to have another 20 more years left to live after they retire at the age of 60. So for women, I think it's about almost 80 years old, okay, and for male is about 76, So with this longer lifespan, and if they do not have quality life, then it is meaningless, to live long but without a good quality life, after retirement.
Chia Tak Weng said it is important for the elderly to be physically and mentally active. One of the ways to do this is to enable them to rejoin the workforce with the government's help.
We are proposing that seniors should be encouraged to work, meaning to say the government should actually help on this aspect by maybe providing equal opportunity employment for seniors, encouraging employers to employ them by giving them some tax incentive, and also perhaps setting up training to upskill and reskill these seniors. So we are not competing with the young people. Always, they always have people. I mean, the government always have this impression that if the seniors come into employment, then the young people will lose out in their jobs. It's not true. The perception is wrong, because we are talking about different nature of the job. Right? For those seniors who are skilled, they can act as consultant or advisors to companies or businesses, while those who are unskilled may be employed, as general workers, in restaurants, as Grab drivers, in farming. As you know, that the country is lacking of foreign workers. Now, some of these jobs may be applicable for senior citizens. Why not tap into the senior workforce?
Third Age Media will organise a conference on empowering seniors beyond the pandemic on October 15th. For more details, you can visit www.thirdagemedia.org.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Jom pergi Carnival Shock weh. 24 dan 25 September ini. Pasti korang shock dengan apa yang ada. Shock hiburan. Boleh jumpa selebriti kegemaran korang. Riang-riang shock. Pelbagai aktiviti menarik untuk keluarga. Jangan lupa Carnival Shock weh. 24 dan 25 September di Dataran Carnival Stadium Shah Alam. Jumpa di sana.
Di Lala Move, kami menghantar dengan pantas dan mudah. Dengan satu klik, fleet kami bersedia untuk anda. Setiap masa, setiap hari. Sentiasa bersedia untuk Lala Move-kan saja.
Macam mana nak berniaga kalau sering berdepan gangguan internet dan ancaman cyber? Dengan penyelesaian Maxis Business, anda pasti boleh. Berniaga di mana saja, bila-bila masa, dengan panggilan dan data tanpa had, walau anda berada di luar pejabat. anda tidak perlu risau lagi dengan perlindungan cyber yang hebat. Miliki pelan Maxis Business Postpaid dan Fiber hari ini.
Welcome back. For the first time in 3 years, world leaders are convening in New York for the annual United Nations General Assembly. The war in Ukraine, climate change and food insecurity will be major themes of the Assembly this week.
The 77th General Assembly meeting of world leaders convenes under the shadow of Europe's first major war since World War II. In a speech leading up to the start of the leaders' meeting on Tuesday, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said leaders must tackle conflicts and climate catastrophes, decreasing poverty and inequality, and addressing divisions among major powers that have gotten worse since Russia invaded Ukraine. This year, the 193-member General Assembly returns to only in-person speeches, with a single exception, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Leaders in many countries are trying to prevent a wider war and restore peace in Europe. Diplomats, though, aren't expecting any breakthroughs this week.
At least 11 school children died in a military airstrike in a village in north-central Myanmar. The UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, had confirmed this. The army opened fire at the school, which it said was targeted at insurgents. According to Myanmar independent media reports, 2 government helicopters started the attack on Friday. The reports revealed that helicopters fired machine guns and heavier weapons at the school with 240 students. UNICEF said at least 15 children from the school are still missing, calling for their immediate safe release. The soldiers have accused some of those captured of being members of the anti-government People's Defense Force. Local monitoring groups said almost 2,300 civilians were killed by the military since February 2021. At least 2 people died after a powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit western Mexico. The tremor struck on the same day the country marked anniversaries of 2 devastating earthquakes that killed thousands. There were at least some early reports of damages to buildings from the quake, which hit shortly after 1 p.m. local time on Monday. The quake struck near the coast of Michoacan at a depth of 15 kilometers. A tsunami warning was initially issued immediately after the quake, but has since been revised. The quake came exactly 5 years after a tremor killed 370 people and a previous quake on the same day in 1985 that killed some 5,000 people. At least 2 people have died in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Fiona caused flooding and landslides and took out the island's entire electricity supply, affecting over 3.3 million people. The storm has since moved towards the Dominican Republic, bringing torrential rains and leaving at least 1 dead. Fiona made landfall in the island's southwest coast on Sunday, prompting President Joe Biden to declare a state of emergency in the U.S. territory. The order allows authorities to provide disaster relief. About 600 National Guard soldiers are currently conducting rescue operations across the island, and some 1,000 people have so far been rescued. First responders from 3 states are expected to assist in the coming days. Puerto Rico remains almost entirely under flash flood warnings, nearly 5 years after Hurricane Maria devastated the island and triggered the worst power blackout in U.S. history. Over in Australia, 14 young sperm whales have died in a mass stranding on a beach in Tasmania. The reason for the stranding is unknown, but wildlife biologists and vets have been sent to investigate.
The animal carcasses were discovered by locals on King Island on Monday afternoon. Whale strandings are not uncommon in Tasmania. Experts say the island state is a hotspot for such events. The incident comes 2 years after 380 pilot whales died in the country's worst mass stranding, also in Tasmania. Sperm whales, which are considered vulnerable globally, can grow up to 18 meters and weigh up to 45,000 kilograms. State government authorities said an aerial survey will be conducted to determine whether more animals are stranded in the area.
In wanting to take the lead on refugee affairs, what is Putrajaya's plan for managing refugees in Malaysia? On Consider This, we ask our guests about gaps arising from the lack of a comprehensive refugee response framework. That is all we have for you on AWANI Tonight. My name is Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching.